Well, this is an unexpected surprise. I went to bed at like 5 a.m. because I had a whatnot auction. I could not fall asleep. And then I got a text message from John. 1 Minute Tours is here. And I was like, oh. So, pulled myself together. And here he is. John, nice to meet you. Welcome. Guys, we have a great Pawn Chats in store. Before we get into it, I want to thank the episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company. Check them out if you're in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, parts of Wisconsin. It's a THC-infused drink. Hits you great. Must be 21 or older to consume in Minnesota. Like I said, hits you great. We have 1 Minute Tours. John, you are a local celebrity. Thank you so much for coming by today. And I am just fascinated. If you guys haven't seen 1 Minute Tours on TikTok.
I am in a functional American commune right now. Standing here at the top of Main Street, USA in Disneyland. These people are not real.
I think TikTok promoted it to me maybe about a year ago. And I started watching your videos and I was like, this guy's really good at what he does. You make a great product for local tourism. And I mean, you go other places too. This is going to be too long of an interview because he's going to Australia right after this. But John, tell us about your background. How did you get into this? How did you get the idea? And let's kind of go from there.
Sure. So I am a tour guide by trade. I spent the last 12 years being on buses with a microphone, going to 26 countries around Europe with groups of 50 people, on boats up and down the Dalmatian coast, walking tours in London. And then I started my own company doing walking tours in Australia. I'm married to an Aussie, and so moved down to Melbourne, lived there for 6 years. And then the pandemic hit, and I couldn't give my walking tours, which I had spent so much time on, and that was right around the time that TikTok was really blasting off.
That was indeed the sweet spot, yep.
Yeah, so that 1 minute limit that he used to have in there made me think, well, I give a 3-hour tour every single day in person, so therefore I should have 180 1-minute videos that I can start with. And so I started publishing videos every single day, blew it up in Australia, in Melbourne. I had a different account then called Depot Adventures, which you can still find. That's the name of my walking tour company. And I came here and I realized it was his own brand, its own identity, and so I started up 1 Minute Tours here in Minnesota.
What has been your biggest video? What has been the most interesting thing here locally that you've gone and seen?
Biggest video I just recently published, got about 5 million views across all platforms, and it was a tour of the new high school in Owatonna.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the amount of views on that too. And why do you think that got so many views? I was a little puzzled myself.
This place is incredible. It is not just the high school that I grew up in with the standard arithmetic and English.
My style, my technique is that all of my videos are one take. So I start the video, I always am very careful to make sure I'm popping into frame. I take that from Vsauce. So I immediately want you to be intrigued at what's happening. I move the camera around constantly. So if you're not interested in what I'm saying, I'm moving around to keep it interesting and change the background. So the more interesting the background, the more likely people will be continue watching. And then that video just had it all. I had a good hook at the start, which was I said, what does a high school look like in 2023? And the common thing that everyone in this country has, for the most part, is they had an experience with high school. So that is immediately intriguing. And about 5 seconds into that video, a student just came in and said, "This is the best school ever."
Yes,
and
that was funny.
He added this organic quality to it.
Yeah.
And then just after that happened, I actually had a smash cut to their nursing department with a scary mannequin. It was both visually interesting and interesting as a content piece because I was talking about how high school has changed to more vocational training, at least at this Owatonna High School, and everyone had opinions about that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just watching the video, I was interested in, because I graduated in 07 and like high school hasn't changed a lot, but just watching you walk through that school, I was like, boy, it really looks different.
I also had the access to it. My channel has grown to the point now where I start getting invited to cool stuff.
That's my next question. You interviewed Governor Walz. That must have been like, how do you get this access?
Yeah.
Like, that's super impressive the governor wanted to talk to you.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, in the social media world, I'm small potatoes. You know, I don't have as many followers as a lot of people who call themselves influencers. But I am hyper local. And so anyone who opens up the TikTok app in the Twin Cities is likely to see my face on their screen.
Yeah.
And so that creates this saturation that I don't think is even some much bigger people on social media, like yourself, don't get to enjoy. I go outside my house and I cannot be anywhere in public and not have someone be like, "Hey, I saw your videos on Reddit or TikTok or whatever," because it's that big fish, small pond thing of gaming those TikTok algorithms.
Well, you asked me earlier when we were chatting, you said, how many people recognize you? Oh, I don't know, I get recognized maybe every 2 weeks. I've been recognized more probably when I travel than here locally, but yeah, you were telling me that you
Yeah.
Can't go outside without somebody being like, hey,
Yeah.
1 minute tours.
And if not that, it's someone, I'll get back from the grocery store and someone in the comments says, I saw you at Cub Foods today. So
Maybe a little weird, but
a little bit, but also like I appreciate it because like what's the worst thing that can happen if you're trying to create a social media empire is that no one sees your videos, and so for me it's gratifying.
So doing walking tours, you're obviously kind of a local historian. What is your favorite aspect of local history here in Minnesota?
Sure. I mean, I think that when I grew up, I graduated high school in '04, and so I was in school for most of the 90s. A lot of Minnesota history began with 1858, which is the state's founding. And then maybe you might say 1839, which is a major treaty that was signed, and a series of treaties that happened. But there is tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of years of human history in this place. And we can call that Minnesota history. It's one of the fascinating things that the indigenous history of Minnesota goes back for such a long time. We can find different objects out in the field here in Minnesota that inform us about the people who made this their home and called it B'day-Makaska, which gives us B'ni Shotan Makoche is where Minnesota gets its name, land where the clear blue waters reflect the skies.
I actually didn't know that. Just to share, my personal favorite aspect of history here is the 20s, the crime that happened in St. Paul.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
My grandfather, or great-grandfather, I should say, owned Berman Sporting Goods, and he was a gun runner. Yeah, if people don't know, Minnesota has a... Oh, sorry, I like this juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Like, you're huge and I'm tiny. Minnesota has a fascinating history with gangster culture, probably as much as or more than Chicago. Every gangster that you can think of was coming through here because we had the O'Connell system. I'm sure you know about that.
Yep. So the police basically said to criminals, just don't make any trouble and you can have safe haven over here. And that went as far as John Dillinger with the famous shootout at Lincoln Court Apartments. But for a long time, these Twin Cities were a fascinating place to be. If you wanted to go west during the 19th century, you would go through two cities, St. Louis or St. Paul. St. Louis put up a big arch, and so they kind of lay claim to this thing of being the gateway to the west. But we were part of that too. And James J. Hill, who built our railway system that went out to the west coast, really put us on the map for that.
Shifting back to your style, you do everything in one take. How often do you flub, and how hard is it to do it in front of people?
It's just a pressure. People are interested to see what I'm doing, and it's easier for me to just screw it up and then, start over again. But I'm pretty good at being able to do it in one take. I will often take notes, and that's how I really get those succinct videos that while they are not scripted, I know exactly where I'm going when I start the video.
I actually personally get really angry when somebody comes in. It happens all the time. Somebody interrupts when I'm filming and says, "What do you want?" But I don't do stuff in one take. I seem to have a bad habit of doing a long take, 20, 30 seconds. And at the very, very end, the last thing I say, I mess it up.
Yep. I mean, that's comes with the territory. For me, I don't mind if someone interrupts as long as they are additive. Because, I did a little bit of improv acting back in like high school, college days. And that rule of yes and, in improv, you never negate what someone says. If I say, oh my God, look at the rain out today, you never say it's not raining. You say, oh yes, and I can't believe it's raining marshmallows, something like that. And so when someone has something contributory to a video, I like it because that video we just talked about with the Owatonna High School was that much more interesting because that kid said...
I think that kid actually is a big part of why it got so big.
Totally. And it was like me giving him the time. I watched that video, and if I put on my critical eye, I can see myself thinking, oh, he's going to make me run over 60 seconds, and you see me kind of cut him off at a certain part of it because I'm trying to have him be in the video while still honoring the format of 1 minute tours.
What do you have planned for next year, and what do you have planned going forward for your channel and your walking tour company and just kind of everything else for you?
Well, Depot Adventures runs tours every single day in the Twin Cities here and in Melbourne, Australia, and so I continue to operate those. With my channel, I have been filming content as much as ever. I'm struggling to get the back-end support of just like, it takes a lot of work to upload these videos, to caption them, and the administration. And so one of my goals in the next year is to find someone who can help me with that and, just be that back-end person to answer emails and make it more of a legitimate business, because I think it could be a business. My ultimate goal with this is I think that I would like to be the Anthony Bourdain of TikTok.
You are on your way. Your style's really good. You immediately grab me with your videos, the way that you do it. You are a true professional, and you're making a great product, and you're showcasing the city in a way that really nobody else has. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to reach out to you and have
Thank
you here
you.
and just...
You know, I think that for decades there has been this format, and you know, Julia Child did it, Rick Steves, Anthony Bourdain, and that format is a recognizable character who takes you into a new world.
Yeah.
And that format has existed for a long time, but there is no one doing that I see on social video. You can't get too precious about it, because ultimately it's disposable. The content is disposable. People will flick on to the next thing, and they might have a slight affection for your videos or my videos, but ultimately the next content is waiting on the thing. So
Yeah.
I think those little touchstones like Blonde Man or slamming something down or having this recognizable format is useful to make people have this like warm blanket of, oh, I like these videos, I'm going to watch this one again.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same for they know what they're coming to get the same product. And that's
Yeah.
what you do every time you do it and I do it, and boy, you're good at what you do. There's a lot to be learned from his videos. If you're interested in doing this in any capacity, I strongly recommend 1 Minute Tours on TikTok. Are you on YouTube? Joe?
I'm on all of them, 1 Minute Tours on them all. I mean, you can find them all at 1minutetours.com. It's kind of just a directory of them all, and people can reach out to me as well at John at 1minutetours.com.
You guys, there's a link in the video description both for Bongwater Beverage and for John's videos. Check them out. 1 Minute Tours. John, you got a flight to catch to Australia.
Great, thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
for coming by. It's so good to
Appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Likewise.
This has been another great Pawn Chats.